Hi, welcome to Professor Kev Show. As you see, my buddy Will with us from Elco. Hey, Will, welcome to the show, bud.
What's up, Professor Kev?
I just live in a dream. Thanks for coming on and continuing my global expansion because you're from Australia, right?
Yes, yep, yes, I am.
So thanks for that. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What do I need to know about you before we get started?
I'm actually Vietnamese-Australian, and I was born and raised in Vietnam for 16 years. And then I moved to the States for a bit to finish high school, and then I moved here to Australia for university.
What made you want to go to the university in Australia? Well, I don't know anything about universities in Australia. What drew you?
Funny story. So I went to the States for high school to play basketball on a scholarship. Unfortunately, I had a pretty bad knee injury my senior year. And so that my hoop dreams sort of died around there. And then I either had to pay the very high prices of university in the States without a scholarship or come to Australia where domestic students with an Australian passport get very low domestic prices.
Smart play. All right, so
Yeah.
I want to tell you a little bit about Elco because we were joking before the show. Anyone that can help students be better public speakers is my friend. Because all things said, I just see students get so stressed over this. It's just there's a statistic that people fear public speaking more than dying. It just and like why, but tell us, from your side, what did you see? What inspired you to actually go forward and try to help people with this?
Ever since I was 15, actually, I've always had the same issue of speaking anxiety. I even had to get a coach growing up and support myself with my own speech confidence. And throughout that, entering university, that's when it really hit me how important it was to have even average public speaking skills because you're constantly presenting in class. You have 1,000 networking events. You have tens of thousands of people at the school just to socialize. And with this comes major opportunities, whether it's professional or social. And if you're not prepared for these opportunities, if you're not prepared to have these conversations, pitch, network, present, whatever it may be, that you're not going to make it. As simple as that.
Yeah.
Because you're being thrown all these doors, all these people to meet. But if you can't meet the if you can't meet the demand, then you're simply going to stay where you are. And so that was the inspiration, and the actual light bulb moment was similar to the stories you've been telling me. It was this one class where each student had 2 minutes to present a case study. And so I can already imagine how you might think it looked. It's exactly how you might think. 20 students, all with scripts stuffed in their face, but they still mess up and they still get nervous, even though they had weeks to prepare and a full script. So that class was the light bulb moment where it was extremely obvious to me that this was a real issue, not only for myself, but for all other 20 students in the class.
Yeah. I mean, it's very rare you have someone in my class who actually does a good job. And what's funny, Will, it's usually the students who think that, oh, I can talk forever. They get up in a 2-minute assignment. It's like, well, that was 13 seconds, bro. Like, because they're overly confident. And then other students who can do a great job, they just get in their head as soon as they forget something. All right, so tell me, how are you solving this? Because I really want to know.
The way I'm solving this is breaking public speaking and communication down to a skill. If we zoom out, at the end of the day, it's a skill, and skills are able to be developed through learning, through practice, and through feedback. And the current issue is that people do practice, but they don't close that learning loop. There's no quality feedback. Yes, if you practice in a mirror, you get the intrinsic feedback of how you perceive yourself. But at the end of the day, how far is that judgment going to get you compared to if you get it objectively from, let's say maybe you do it with a friend? How trusted is that quality of feedback? And so when I zoom out again, the way we're solving this is by closing that learning loop by providing a space where people can practice, they get actual feedback, and then they get the opportunity to apply that again, as well as incorporating high quality theory learning into it. And so it's just like how you might teach a class. You teach them the theory, you give them a test, and you give them feedback on that test,
Yep.
and then they continue doing that. So that's how we're doing that. And we're including AI to essentially make it more accessible, make it contextual and personalized towards that user because everybody has different speaking styles.
Now, how are they getting feedback? Is this like an app, a program they're using to get the feedback?
It's yes, it is, and it's built in the same concept as Duolingo. And so it's fully gamified. You get
Yep.
XP in your levels. It's short sessions because attention spans nowadays are a bit fried.
Yep.
And it's very fun, lighthearted, and colorful because, like you said, people stress their ass off over this public speaking communication. And so imagine you could turn that into a private space where the user doesn't feel anxious at all or stressed at all to start speaking.
I liked how you mentioned being in the class. I notice students don't do what we're just doing, just chatting. In my class, we have round tables, 5 or 6 students sit at a table. We're at week about 8 right now to 15. I could bet you lunch, whatever you want to bet, that the majority of the kids don't know the dude sitting close enough they could touch him on the shoulder. They just because you're sitting on their phone. I'm like, put your phone down. Hey, I'm Kev. Hi, Will. They don't have that skill. And I'm like, you got to get that skill. Because like you said, all the doors are there. All you have to do is open them and go through. So many
Exactly.
great connections are being offered at every university. But because you have that fear and you haven't practiced, you don't go because like, I can't go. What I'm supposed to just to walk up to Will and go, hi, I'm Kev. Yes, yes, Will, that's how it works, bro. So all right, let's go crystal ball. 3 to 5 years out. What are we hoping to have accomplished with this idea?
We're hoping to become that go-to platform. So you know how if you think, oh, I want to watch a movie or a TV show, then you'd go to Netflix, right? Or if you think you
Yep,
want to learn a language, then you'd go to Duolingo.
sure.
So we want to be that instant go-to, that the Google for public speaking. Google's not even a verb; it's the name of the company. People say, "Oh, just Google that,"
Yeah,
or
yeah,
just ask chat.
yeah.
And so we want to be okay. Oh, I have a meeting tomorrow. Okay, let me prepare with Elco really quick. Oh, if I have a networking event. Okay, let me prepare with Elco.
No, I love that. We're all into gamification. We're all into Duolingo. It's funny. We're on vacation. We had the Duolingo noise. My wife looks over to the guy like, "What
Yeah.
language are you learning, bro?" Because we all know the noise now because we're all using it and stuff. So, all right, well, what's the best way? How do we get in touch with you? We want to learn more.
Get in touch with me. LinkedIn, Instagram, Elco the app, TikTok, Elco the app.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. I had a fun time chatting with you. Thanks for being my friend.
Thank you so much, Professor Kev.